Welcome to Today Matters, our short devotional from the Word of God. What does our future look like? What does your future look like? What do you think tomorrow will look like? Times are quickly changing and really not for the better. And you and I have no idea what is going to happen. Does it concern you? What emotions are you feeling right now? Are you fearful or hopeful, optimistic? I want to remain hopeful and spread hope to others. The other day I was reading 1 Samuel 23 along with Psalm 31, a psalm of David. Again, like many of his psalms where David was pleading with God for protection from his adversaries, his enemies. And then we come to verses 14 and 15 in Psalm 31, and he says this, "But I am trusting you, O Lord, saying, you are my God, my future is in your hands." Remember, this was written after David was anointed king by the prophet Samuel, who anointed him king of Israel while Saul was still king. Some commentaries say that David had to run and hide from Saul for 13 years. Wow. No wonder David was fed up with being chased and hunted down. And then as I was reading in 1 Samuel 23, it's a story where David and his men were living in Judah, the southern part of Israel at this time, trying to stay under the radar, hiding from Saul, but David is told that the Philistines besieged the town of Keilah. So David inquires of the Lord and says, "Should I go down and help them?" And God says, "Yes, go." But David's men were hesitant to go. Why? Because Saul would know where to come and find them. And so David inquired again, and God said, "Yes, go, and I will help you conquer the Philistines." David and his men save the town. They defeat the Philistines, and however, in the process, again, Saul, who has been after David and his men, hears that David is there in Keilah and mobilizes his entire army to go after David and his men. David asked God, "Will the men in this town, the people I just helped, will they turn on me and give me to Saul?" And God says, "Yes." So David flees into the wilderness and hill country of Ziph, and Saul is relentlessly pursuing David and finally closes in on him. David is at the place of being found when Saul gets news that the Philistines are raiding Israel again. So Saul and his army call off the chase and go back home. David's life is spared and the lives of his men. And as David is scrambling around the hillside, in the wilderness, the mountains, he gets brutally honest with God. And again, this is the time period where some commentators say that Psalm 31 was written. David doesn't like what's happening to him. He wants his enemies defeated. He wants them to be destroyed. And to think that the people he just has helped go against him. From our perspective, David just can't catch a break. But David also recognizes that God is in control, and he knows what he is doing. David made the conscious decision to say, "My trust is in you. My future is in your hands." No matter what I'm going through, no matter who turns against me, no matter, I will declare my trust is in you, for you are my God, and my future is in your hands. What a great way to live life. If David can make these statements with everything that he was going through, I want to be sure that I'm in the same place, the place of totally trusting God. My future is secure because it's in God's hands, not mine. Eternity, now and forever, secure. Why? Because I've placed my faith and trust in Jesus Christ. My future, my tomorrows, the next day and the day after and the day after that, also secure because I choose to live my life and say, "You are my God. My trust is in you. My future is in your hands." I pray that you will live your life this way as well.